Welcome in. I am going to be talking about Virgo season on this live, as you can already see. I hope some people join me. I did not, let anybody know I was going to do this because I just have to go with the flow of the energy. So here we are, and let's get started. Let me just find my notes. What's up, y'all? So it's maintenance season. Welcome to maintenance season. Welcome to pre-eclipse season, right? We have, as usual, a lot going on. We are just getting off of the Mercury retrograde. All praises for that. I have noticed it's hit a lot of people quite hard. One of the interesting things to remember about this Mercury retrograde that we're coming off of during this past Leo season is that last year in Leo season we had a Venus retrograde. And why is that significant? Because Venus being a lot about love and relationships, well, this year we have the North Node, of course, in Aries and the South Node in relationships. So we have what came from a Leo season that was dealing with the Venus retrograde to one dealing with a Mercury retrograde during a big relationship, just theme this year. And yes, we are in eclipse territory. We're getting ready for it, right? We're coming up. So this is making this season of maintenance, to me, extremely important. Especially coming off of a Mercury retrograde that was about details, going into a season that's all about details and preparation and really getting to the grind and really getting together what your practical daily life looks like, having as much control and acceptance when it comes to the different responsibilities that you have with yourself, with your health of all kinds, right? Physical health, spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, right? And so this is what matters as we go into eclipse season. And let me just talk a little bit again about relationships, right? Because I have always believed this, and I think this year has set it in stone even more. Because as y'all know, this is also a very big political year. And what is politics if not a bunch of people having relationships, right? What are we if our government is in relationship to other governments around the world, right? Our countries are all in relationships. I believe the state of the world is what it is because of the nature of the way we relate. And as we can see, the state of the world is not so great, right? It's not in any sort of harmony. And I also believe that when we look at two opposing forces, man, woman, right? Partners, we're looking at the reason why we all incarnated here in the first place on this planet. This realm is all about figuring out unity, right? This realm is all about becoming whole, but becoming whole through understanding duality, understanding tension. And in order to truly become whole, we have to, of course, accept all sides, different people, right? Different opinions, our darkness as well as our light and our shadows. And so we're in the middle of a season now that we have to, it may not seem like it's about relationships at all, right? Virgo season is usually about the harvest. It's about the fruits of our labor. It's about service. It's about really doing things that are selfless and because they just have to be done, right? Getting things done a certain way because there is just a way to do it that, leans towards the perfectionism, right? And quality. But of course, this still has to do with relating, right? In order to be a selfless person, I mean a truly selfless person, you have to have given yourself everything that you need first. Because if you don't give yourself everything that you need first, if you're not selfish first, then when you're being selfless, you're only operating from this place of lack, right? And when we then move from Virgo season to Libra season, this season of relationships, right? Why is Virgo before Libra? Because once again, you have to have yourself together in some sort of aspect. You have to understand what it is that you're doing. What do you need to do for you in order to be in a mind state where you can actually take on another human being and not manipulate, not lie, right? Not come at it at an angle where you're only looking at other people because what can they do for you? You have to you have to get to a state of purity and selflessness before you can enter into a relationship the right way, right? The ideal way. Because when you sit in front of another person, right, after having given yourself what you need, it's about that person. There's this saying, and I can't remember it exactly right now, but right, when someone else is in front of you, right, when you're with someone else, it's about that person. And it should be for both individuals. So you're there with someone and it's about them, and they're also with you and they're looking at you like, well, it's about you, and this is how we truly help each other. But like I said, first having been, selfish, first having been understanding what you need and knowing like your flaws, accepting your flaws. Virgo season is a lot about flaws. It's about picking apart those flaws. It's about seeing what doesn't work. It's about figuring out what can we do to be better. What can we do to be more productive? How can next year's harvest yield more fruit, right? Because this year we dealt with these circumstances in the weather, and then these bugs, and we need to make a better natural pesticide, and we have to tackle these issues. So it is about planning, and that's why we see that Virgo season is all about planning. It's about thinking way ahead. And when we have that ability to do that, we can actually come into a relationship with other people with some kind of skill, because that is the work that's required to be in partnership with others, right? It takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to truly build with somebody else, right? So let's talk about this season, because there's of course many major things going on, and we have on September 1st, Pluto retrograde is going to be moving officially back into Capricorn from its 0-degree position, right? Moving from Aquarius back into Capricorn and making that dip again that we have seen and felt already. So if there still hasn't been a plan to get control or to understand where it is that authority in your life or your own sense of authority over your life is failing, right? And also successful, we're going to get another chance at another shot to truly sit with that, especially during Virgo season, because Pluto's still going to be retrograde. So it's much more in contemplation of how hard have you been working, what are you working at, right? And the good thing about this Pluto in Capricorn for this season is that it's trining, right? Meaning that Virgo season is Earth, Capricorn is Earth. This is a lot about stability. This is a lot about real material things we can do in our life. This is about what we actually have, right? Once again, the topic of control. And when we look around us, we look and feel about control, about what we can actually grasp in our hands, what we can actually move forward with our own feet. Like, I can get up right now and I can go to the grocery store and I can figure out like what I'm gonna make for lunch. I can take action because physically I have control. So this is a lot coming back to the physical this season, and I want you to keep that in mind, that, you know, control issues, authority issues are coming back around to see where you're at with them. Have you successfully taken on, once again, the responsibilities in your life that are well in your control, or have you been, you know, kind of mentally pushing them aside? Have you been trying to forget about responsibilities and play victim in some sort of way? Saturn still being in Pisces is going to not allow us, right? Because the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn's in Pisces retrograde. Pisces energy having sometimes more of the victim kind of mentality, where Virgo is the one to be like, but you can get up and you can work out and you can fix yourself something better to eat. So what are you doing, right? Once again, this is a lot about action. So September 4th, Mars is going to move into Cancer. This is meaning from September 4th, during this Mars in Cancer transit, we're going to be much more emotionally motivated, much more driven by our feelings. This can be good and this can be bad, right? If your feelings have been out of whack, then you might find yourself in a position where you have to kind of at least develop the plan again around how to bring yourself back to emotional state that you would rather make decisions upon, because there's going to be a lot of tempting in going to do something or starting conversations from a place that you don't actually mean to do, but because your emotions may be overwhelming, you will lean in that direction. And so going back to those Virgo tendencies of setting up your own spaces and setting up your own ritual around how to bring yourself back to a regulated state, right? An emotionally regulated state, taking the precaution. Like, if you know that you feel anxiety in large crowds, prepare yourself before you leave the house. Prepare yourself before you go into that event or crowd, and affirm certain things for yourself. Bring what you need that's a comfort. You have to really prepare yourself, because this is what's going to carry us through the rest of this year, the rest of this North Node in Aries, right? Is we can define ourselves in our mind. However, like, you can say, yeah, I'm the best artist of all time, but if you say you're the best artist of all time, are you working? Is your productivity up to par, right? You can say certain things, but this is not the season about saying certain things and defining yourself with your words. This is the season of defining yourself with what you actually do. This is not the time for you to kind of showboat who you think you are, who you want to be. This is like being silent, right? And I would like really advise for the most of this season to kind of keep words at a minimum, be a little bit more reserved with what you share, and let your actions speak for themselves. Mostly speak when you're talked to or someone's asking you a direct question, and also vice versa, right? If you want to know something, if you have something that you need to like address, whether it's good or uncomfortable or whatever, you want to take a little bit of time to prep yourself mentally, prep yourself emotionally before those conversations, and then address them. But this is a great time to do it, especially before we get into Libra season and we hit the actual eclipse, right? Because we don't want to go into the eclipse feeling like unhinged. We don't want to go into the eclipse with unresolved anything, with something that you know you need to address, but you're just not doing it and you're pushing it off and pushing it off. This is a great season to not push it off any longer and get down to the nitty-gritty of what needs to be done. So we're also gonna be feeling Venus move into Libra on the 29th of this month, right? So we're already gonna be in Libra energy during Virgo season. And so this just is like tripling down on all of this focus on what is it that we are bringing to our relationships, what is it that our relationships are giving to us, and how can we truly improve upon what matters and practice. Put like, the one of the strongest gifts that we have is practice. If you want to make a change, whether it's emotionally, whether it's like mentally in your life, whatever the case may be, practice. And I've said this before, and I mean, I'm sure it's repetition, right? So when you want a better relationships, you have to repeat things. It's not to say that you figure it out once and you're never going to encounter that argument again. You're never going to encounter that problem again with your partner. No, we're human. We're going to encounter those problems again. But the difference is every single time we do, when we realize that we're being given opportunities to practice what we really want and who we really want to be, it kind of eases the stress and anxiety around these issues. It off the bat kind of makes you feel like, okay, I can handle this because I want to, and I want to be better, and I want to improve with this person. We love each other, we're committed, so we're gonna keep trying. And that's what really matters, right? Even when the emotions once again are overwhelming, you have to kind of bring yourself back to that place of, well, this is what it takes. It's this kind of repetitive nature and constantly meeting back at this point with whatever it is. And this could also be about like work related issues, right? You can find yourself at a job and or even on the search for something, and you're repeating the same kind of issue over and over. This doesn't mean that you're necessarily looping, right? There's a difference between you're negatively looping and you're going in the same circle, and you're spiraling upwards. Meaning when you spiral upwards, you're still going in this motion, meeting the same kinds of similar things, except every time you found a way to feel a little bit less personal, right, about it. You don't feel as personally attacked, or you feel like you can handle it more. You have more tools. The point of these repetitive cycles in life is for you to gain more and more tools, and so you can be better equipped and you can actually change these dynamics that only get changed through a long time, right? Like, that's just what it is. Like, we can't expect change to be like this, even though we have Uranus and Taurus right now helping us make bigger leaps, helping us make bigger changes. When I say bigger leaps, quantum jumps, what I mean is those are the moments in your life where you go through something and it's truly definitive. Like, you can remember when your life changed in this moment. That's a quantum leap. That's what I mean by quantum jump. It might sound fancy or whatever, but all I'm saying is you've built yourself up to this point where now when you do it, right, and it could be like the smallest thing, you just change jobs, or you move out of your house and you move somewhere else, but then like nothing is the same ever again, and it's very definitive. Well, this eclipse season in Libra season is going to be a relational quantum leap forward, meaning a big drastic life-changing change within the dynamic of relationships for you, for everybody, and not just relationships, but like who we are in terms of our relationships, like what again is our responsibilities, where up until this point you could have felt like, you know, like responsibilities itself can shift drastically within these 2 months, where you never had to be the person who was financially in charge, but then all of a sudden it just flips like that, right? And now you are, or you were never the person that received anything in life. You were always the person that did for others, and then all of a sudden it changes, and now you're in a position where you're receiving all the help because you need it. So these are the kinds of shifts and jumps that we're about to make. The next transit I want to talk about is on September 8th. We have the sun opposing Saturn. That's a big deal, right? Remember, Saturn's retrograde in Pisces. The sun's going to be in Virgo, right? So we have ourself, right? Ourself and our daily life that we're focusing on Virgo. And then we have exactly opposite on the 8th is Saturn, right? The watchful eye. If we're not feeling the criticism now, we're going to be feeling it around this time, around like the September 8th, that week, because we're going to be seeing whether or not our dreams are real, the ones that we've been buying into and investing into and trying to move forward. There's a lot of payout either at this time of like, hey, you're gonna see a little bit of progress. You know, if you've been like trying to truly change things for yourself and like make more money at your job and, you know, apply to places and get a new place to live, then you're gonna be seeing some things really speak to you at this time, saying, hey, like, you've been doing good. Even if it's something small, this is where you need to trust your intuition, right? Because this is also going to be a reality check on how strong it is that your faith is, how strong is your belief in yourself, how strong is your wishful thinking, right? Like, okay, so this is either going to check you into you realizing that you're really just delulu, like you're for real delulu, because you haven't been putting in any of the actual effort to be the person that you're projecting yourself to be, or to get the thing that you're trying to get. You're just like, you know, either like fabricating the truth, or the truth is the truth, and what you've been projecting and what you've been fighting for and what you've been saying you're about, even if people are doubting you, even if people are saying you ain't about that life, this is the day where it comes, you see the truth, right? And it's like, no, I am about this motherfucking life. Like, I did this damn thing. Like, here's the proof in the pudding, right? And like I said, you don't even have to say it. This can be a quiet, silent confirmation to yourself, where you realize things are okay, or you realize things are out of whack, and something is coming to the surface, something is revealing itself, not just for you, but for everyone else around you to see that, hey, you're not really doing what you're doing, what you should be doing, right? And that's a bigger thing that you're gonna have to sit with. So depending on what side of the coin you're on, you'll know, or you already know, if you've been living a lie by any means, you should check yourself now before you get there. Because transparency, this is a moment where we're going to get true transparency, right? That's kind of what it is. And so whatever is lying behind the scenes is just going to be out there. All right, and then on September 12th, we have the sun squaring Jupiter. This is good, although it'll feel like a challenge, right? Jupiter being in Gemini, the other Mercury sign, and well, I don't know why there's anyway, and the sun, of course, in Virgo. So both of these are very brainy, very logical. I think that what it is we're going to have an opportunity, though, to really enjoy ourselves around this time, but we're going to have to, one, like I've been saying, prepare yourself well. And depending on which side of the coin, of course, you're on, if things are moving in your favor, you will have this opportunity to like experience true playfulness, true ease. Although it's funny because, like I'm saying, it's coming at through with this challenge kind of point, right? A square is still something that we have to overcome. So it might even just be that we might be overly analytical or overly pessimistic, some of us, right? Especially during Virgo season, it's easier to be pessimistic because we just are realizing how much work we have to do. We're realizing how much this project is going to take of our time and our energy. And so I think the real challenge is, even though we have these massive agendas of responsibilities and things to do, on September 12th, if you have an opportunity to go out and just have a good time, take it, right? Go out and have a good time. Go out and, enjoy and laugh and find laughter and find fun somewhere. And just remember that even though we have all these massive things to do, we still have to give ourselves breaks. So I think the issue and the challenge is going to be more so, we're going to feel like, oh, I don't think I deserve this break right now, so I'm not going to take it, right? It's kind of like self-sabotaging your way out of having a happy life. No, take your fun, take your experiences. We're still, at the end of the day, building memories, building and practicing fun as much as we're practicing discipline and maturity, right? So we have to practice both sides. We have to practice how to be mature individuals. We also have to practice how to let things go and how to just not take things that serious, right? And laugh a little. A lot of people, as funny as that sounds, have that issue of like learning how to just relax. Relaxing is actually not relaxing for a lot of people. So this is your opportunity to have that and to figure out what it is that is going to give you and feed you that fun and that enjoyment at this time. All right, and then we have September 19th, which is the sun trining Uranus, right? So once again, Uranus in Taurus, and the sun is now trining it. So I think this is a great time around the 19th, and then even going into the 20th, where the sun is going to be opposing Neptune also in Pisces, right? So Virgo Pisces opposition, and then a Virgo Taurus trine. Okay, cool. I mean, this is where we get to truly change frequencies, create new realities. We start to get the glimpses of those realities that we want to shift into, and we start to see the actual path being carved. And, like how I was talking about quantum jumps, this time frame is really like around that 19th, 20th, which, by the way, on the same time of the 20th, we have the sun also trining Pluto now. So we have a grand trine, right? We have Pluto, we have Uranus and the sun, all in earth signs, trining each other. And that's going to be a great time to see something being birthed. Something extremely positive come through that has to do with breaking through some sort of challenge, breaking through some sort of either tension or blockage that we've been facing for quite some time. Finally feeling the breakthrough, finally gaining control in an area that we've been trying to grasp control, where we probably haven't actually felt it. This is a foundational change that we're getting gifted. Don't be scared of what happens around this time. What happens around this time can also be masked as something like a hurricane hitting and the roof of your house gets blown, off. And it's like, oh, fuck, like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. What are we going to do? Everything has to, change. But then it's like, oh, insurance is going to cover, like, everything, and then I get to sell my house, and I get to renovate and add this and do this. So either way, this grand trine, mind you, on the 20th, as we're having this grand trine, the moon will be on Chiron. So when I talk about this Pluto, like, breakthrough, the fact that the moon is going to be on Chiron in Aries, where the North Node is, this is like winning a fight. This is like winning a fight that, a straight up physical fight, right? Like, if it manifested in that way, it's like you're taking on 3 big ass dudes, and this is the underdog really pushing through, right? You seeing yourself like actually accomplish something that is just monumentous, but at the same time, you personally know how, like I said, how much work you've put in. You know how much you deserve this win. So there's a big win coming this season, especially if we are truly stepping in without the fear. And that's why I want to remind you to get your emotions in order. Prepare as best as you can. Keep preparing, like, as if, you're not going to win anything. As if you're just trying and you're just working your hardest. Every single small win is truly huge. And I need y'all to celebrate every single small win. And at the end of the day, this is something that, for example, that I need to do with myself. I think we all need to do it. It's easy to be hard on yourself. It's easy to say, I've been working out like 3-4 times a week, but I don't see any progress, right? But it's like, but you're being consistent once again, and you're gonna get a small win, and you're going to feel something. And this is ushering in a huge change that will be taking place over this month and the next. So you gotta remember that it might seem very, very, maybe partly boring this season. Like, we're just getting to the thing. The more that you can kind of get lost in your routine. Oh, snap. Hold on. Yeah, the more you can get lost in your routine, the bigger the payout. The more that you're going to, like, enjoy the change that definitely comes along with this Grand Trine energy. Because it's a foundational rocking. Like, it's something that definitely shifts what's under your feet. But if you can stay as open as possible, there's a lot to gain. If you can let go as much of the fear, except for the necessary fear, because sometimes there's necessary worries and there's necessary fears that come to kind of steer you in the right direction, because there's actual danger. And but if you can eliminate that there is no actual danger, that this is just an anxiety fear because you're just unsure of where you're going, it's uncomfortable, you don't know what's going to happen, so that's the only reason why you have anxiety, you need to remind yourself of that. Sometimes you're not in survival mode, your body's playing tricks on you, and you need to remind your body physically, with breath, with movement, with food, with water. Okay, if you have never preyed upon your water, is it normal to feel stagnant at this time? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, when I say it's gonna feel a little routine. That's what I mean. Sometimes when you're just getting to the thing that you have to do, you're just going to work, you're clocking in, you're clocking out, you're clocking in, you're clocking out, you're going home, you're taking a bath, you go to sleep, you get up, you do it again. That feels like stagnancy, right? It feels like, why isn't anything happening? Why aren't I moving forward or moving on? But remember, it's the little things. Sometimes when we're in a period of stagnancy, it's because we are not paying attention to we're not paying attention to something important, right? That's actually happening, that's so much smaller and so much minute. And I kind of want to give this as an example, right? So recently I did the Tatiana Tarot's tarot challenge, and it's interesting because I learned a lesson from that just recently, because I haven't been feeling connected to things like tarot for a while. It could be because of motherhood. It could be because, I'm just in this sometimes what feels like stagnant place where I'm like, what's the next thing? Like, I feel like I'm just getting up, I'm taking care of my son, and I'm trying to do my basics, drink enough water, eat the right food, and then take a shower, right? That's it. But as soon as I opened the deck and started that challenge, it reminded me something, and the message that I got was maintenance. It was like, hey, your magic needs maintenance. Even if, whatever it is that you've not been in touch with for a while, that you kind of felt like, oh, I leveled up, or I'm done with that, or I don't feel connected, you still need to tap back in. You need to tap back in on a regular basis, even if it doesn't feel that amazing. And I urge everyone to look at your routines and look at your life right now and think to yourself, what haven't I done in a while that I used to do, or that I don't feel like doing? Why don't I feel like doing it? And maybe I should try, right? Maybe I should try and to do something again, right? And this is that kind of month, especially heading into the Grand Trine, where you're just doing the thing, but finally, today, it's different. And something about it is different. So, stagnancy is okay. I think we need to remember that a lot of the times, stagnant periods are all about rest. The other thing that I have realized, okay, especially for women, right? Now, women, we have to embody it, but this goes for men too. We go through a conception period where, we have sex, and then we get pregnant, and then you go through 9 months of building that, and then all of a sudden your life changes in a day because you give birth and you have a baby, and then we have to go through months of healing and rest. So the thing is, stagnancy is important. It's so important that we don't have something going on in every single moment, that we're not constantly leveling up. In stagnancy, maybe the thing is that, you're losing sight of how to enjoy, how to have fun, once again, how to laugh, how to love. And that could be the issue. So there's a seeking what's already in front of you that is kind of being ignored or overlooked or underappreciated. And it may not be the obvious thing. So there is a importance around, slowing down. And a lot of the times we relate stagnancy to slowing down. So it's an interesting question because it's incredibly related to this period and to what's to come as well in Libra season and hitting the eclipse, and then the rest of this year before we finally get back into Pluto and Aquarius. Trust me, treasure these times, because when Pluto goes into Aquarius, things start to pick up and get more chaotic again. Obviously, we're headed into this presidential election, right? And it doesn't matter which way things fall, shit is going to be incredibly different, and we're going to start seeing that on a much more grand level. And yeah, so it matters. Like, if we have periods where it feels like nothing's changing and nothing's moving and we're bored or we don't feel fulfilled as much, these are actually blessings. Right? And so it almost feels like I shouldn't have fun because I'm so stagnant. It's crazy how we can be so hard on ourselves. Yes, exactly. And that's what I mean by, especially the transit of that's hitting. Let me just go back in, right? Where is it? So when we feel, especially around September 12th, the sun squaring Gemini, this is the issue. So the issue around this Gemini energy of just enjoying yourself, doing something because you're not thinking that hard, because it's like a no-brainer. Oh, I like to do this thing, I'm just gonna go do this thing. Like I said, it's hard to reward yourself when you feel like we've been programmed into this reward system our whole lives, probably from as little as a baby when our parents were trying to discipline us to our school education. The whole education system is designed around punishments and rewards, right? You pass your test, okay, we get a pizza party. But if you don't pass your test, you don't get nothing, right? You know, and that's so bullshit at the end of the day. It's not that simple, it's not that linear, and it's not that straightforward. If you are getting up every day and you're showing up and doing what seems to be like the bare minimum, which is the Virgo work, the bare minimum, right? If you are getting out there into the yard and you're farming your land, and that shit is hard ass work, and you're doing the same thing every day, and you know you're barely seeing anything happen to your crops, that doesn't mean you can't take the rest of the day off and go party. Like, you can do that, right? Like, things grow at a natural pace and you can't speed it up. And it doesn't matter if you sit there in front of the plant and stare at it and you know, trying to catch its growth. Or you might end up overworking, overwatering, overtending to your garden. There's a beautiful give and take. What we're really going to understand when we come to this Libra eclipse is balance, right? Balance within our relationships, balance within ourself, balance within our life. And that, like, you deserve rewards no matter what. And especially you deserve rewards because you're just, the biggest thing that is your responsibility is to every day be yourself. And it doesn't matter if you have some kind of grand thing to do or not. But if you're being yourself, that's it. You deserve to be happy as well. So the hardest challenge around this time that will be probably given an opportunity to have some fun, enjoy ourselves, change up the routine just a little, and see what life has to offer us. Around September 12th, if you get that kind of offer, just do it. If it happens before that, take it, right? If it happens after that or on the trine, take it. But, you know, sometimes, like, you know, when people are, for example, like, you're in debt, right? You're in debt, you're like thousands of dollars in debt. But somebody you know is like getting married or something, right? And they're having a destination wedding and you're like, I can't go, I have no money. Like I said, what's more important at the end of the day? Is it your debt or is it the memory that you're gonna make? And I don't want you to go in debt now taking this advice, like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna run my card up, yeah, let me just go on a wild epic world journey. No, don't run away from your problems, but as long as you know you're showing up every day and you're doing the responsible thing, you can make those memories. You can spend a little bit. You have opportunities to gain it back, right? Because the world right now is not made in our favor. Like, it really isn't. The economy is shit. Like, things aren't going so great where we can truly look at our monetary gain or our successes and determine our worth. That's not how it works. You cannot determine your worth based upon how hard you're working or not. It just doesn't work like that. And so we're constantly reprogramming, and this season is about a bigger reprogramming, a deeper sense of reprogramming. So I just want y'all to remember that. And yes, give yourself the reward because you know you're showing up, because this is who you are. You don't have to broadcast it to the world all the time. People will see you who need to see you. And yes, we'll be able to identify how hard we're being on ourselves, and then we'll also be able to identify where we need to relax. Right? So just get to know any Virgo, and you'll see them do this to themselves, and use that as a reflection. Like, damn, man, they're so hard on themselves, but they're so talented, they're so beautiful, they're so creative, they just know how to dress, it's just so effortless for them. But at the same time, they're like sitting there picking apart all their flaws all day long. So that's your reflection to remember, like, where am I doing that with myself? Because I'm sure I'm doing that with myself somehow, and I just need to give it up, and I need to learn how to relax. Remember, the key is learning how to relax and putting it into practice. So okay, if there are no other comments or questions, I'll definitely leave it there. And if you didn't catch the live on time, just go back. Right. No Virgo energy, learn to relax show. Yeah, it's hard. Yep, it's hard. I would even say, especially even being a man, this is probably going to be like taboo in some sort of way, right? But because there's this programming around being a man and having to like hustle even harder, I think it's more natural for women to say, you know what, I'm gonna just wait for somebody to do that for me. I'm gonna just wait for somebody to pick up my bag and put it on, the shelf or whatever, because somebody's gonna help me. It's easier for us in a sense to receive, and this is not for everybody, because everybody has, of course, your own personal issues, but collectively speaking, the male energy is about doing. And once again, we're here to unionize those polarities, so you can see when in yourself, man or woman or whatever, you're overworking your masculine or you're overworking your feminine. You can see that within yourself, and those are the kinds of evaluations that need to be had, especially this season, so we can get to eclipse season with a much better state of equilibrium, a much better understanding of who we want to be and what we want to attract in others as well, and then we can move forward to that. But thank y'all for joining in and sticking with me this whole time. I'm definitely gonna go and do my own self-reflections. Hopefully I can update my broadcast channel a little bit more this month. And you already know, if you feel like if you feel the call and you feel like you need to check in with me, I'm definitely here for you. My sale is not running anymore because I'm much more busy right now. But thank y'all. I love you guys so much. And till next time, till we get to talk again. Peace.